Okay, so now we will discuss a little bit about security. What happens is, in the previous scenario, if you notice over here, this guy belongs to a VLAN and he is properly communicating on the network. He is accessing the network resources, but he has an IP address, and my colleague that sits in the next cubicle, he is a hacker, and he has specially joined the company to steal the data from our company. And so what he will do is, when I go out for my lunch time, he will simply take out the cable and attach to his laptop. Your switch knows only the configuration on his port, right? He does not have to do anything with the end PC. Any data that comes onto this port belongs to the VLAN 2. He does not know who is sending the data. He just knows the data is coming. I need to tag it. When the data goes out, I need to remove the tag, right? So if this guy comes on the network and he does something like this, he will be easily able to get into the network instead of me. He can simply access the resources because he is taking this switch, and this switch port is okay, it's working fine. We do not want to do that. We do not want this type of situation to arise. Only the legitimate people should be able to communicate on the network. And what people like me can do is, they can bring in Kali laptops. The Linux has a very nice operating system for penetration testing. We can just fire that operating system and create n number of frames. Every frame can have a separate MAC address. What I can do is, I can push so many frames from here to here that this switch will end up, filling his MAC address table. There will be a time when the capacity of the MAC address table will be full. In a scenario wherein that happens, the switch turns into layer 1, you can say. A switch starts acting as layer 1, a hub, and he will simply forward the data, and he will simply forward the data of all VLANs, you can say. So if this is a hub, I can do VLAN hopping. Mac off is the small software's name that is in your backtrack I saw last time. So to avoid attacks like this, to secure your network, there is something called Switchport port security. Switchport port security. What does this enable you to do? This enables you to have security on the switch port. Who can be connected on this switch port using the MAC addresses? Now, technically, the MAC address is globally unique. It cannot be changed. But as far as I know, that is partially true, because you can change the MAC address also. Before attacking, people will change their MAC addresses. But keeping that scenario aside, this PC, we will assign an IP address for 10.0.0.1. And the moment I do that, a gratuitous ARP happens, and the switch will learn the MAC addresses over here. Enable show MAC address -table. He knows the MAC address of this PC over here. Right? This PC is a legitimate user. He is a good guy. He works in the corporation like me, a normal person. So what happens is, this person, we do not want anybody else to connect over here. So for doing that, you will do switchport. You will go on the interface F0/1, and you will enable port security. This first command is very important. Why? Because if you forget this first command and do all the rest of the commands, port security will not be started only. So first command and all the commands related to switchport port security will be starting with switchport port security only. So switchport port security, what can be done? See, switchport, I'll go and do it on the switch itself. Configure terminal, interface F0/1, switchport. First of all, always set the mode. Switchport mode is access, right? Then you will start switchport port -security. This is to enable port security on the port. Switchport port security, then switchport port security ? Here it says, tell me the MAC address. Okay, I can say tell the MAC address is 1.1.1 like this I can say, but if I know that this is the MAC address, I can copy this and paste it over here also. But if there are 400 people and 20 switches, every port has one person connected, it is a very hectic job to paste the MAC address manually. So what you can do is MAC address sticky. By sticky means, kindly take the MAC address that comes on this interface and attach it to the database. stick the MAC address that is as of now going on. So half of the work is done. No need to assign these dangerous MAC addresses. As of now, Switchport
If
port
multiple,
security.
if
Yes,
multiple devices are there,
if you say I have multiple MAC addresses, then that will be a voice VLAN scenario. Means if there are two people on that port, if now how does it happen actually? I'll say this is a place. Here we will connect a voice phone and a voice phone, a voice IP phone. This cable goes into the IP phone, and an IP phone will take out a cable from here. This will be a voice VLAN and all that stuff. At that time, we will have multiple people on that. But as of now, we configured port security, Switchport port security, MAC address sticky. And if your question says how many MAC addresses will be there, I will say maximum one. If you see more than one, it is not allowed. So on one port, how many MAC addresses? See, you will have usually only one person or two PCs. One PC or two devices. One is the IP phone or one is the end device. So you can say maximum two. On this port, I will have only one MAC address kept. So what if you say there is more than one MAC address? What if a person like this comes in and does the violation? So if you see more than one MAC address, it comes under a violation, and violation has three modes. If someone comes in and adds another cable, and the MAC address will be detected with the first frame. So there are three modes. If you see more than one MAC address, kindly shut down the interface, or protect the interface, or restrict the interface. So what else is violation? Shutdown. If now, what am I telling the device? If you see more than one address, immediately shut down the interface. That is a very nice option. So you can also select protect. Don't turn off the interface, but just don't take the data. And you can also say just don't take the data and increase the violation count. Right? So what I am saying is Switchport port security. If you see more than one MAC address, that is after this, kindly shut down the interface. Getting the point? Let us say show port security. Show port security will tell us the very basic of the port security enabled, and show port security interface F0/1. This will give you all the details. See, it says port security is enabled with the first command you said that enabled the port security. As of now, the port status is up. What if the violation happens? I will shut down the interface, and maximum MAC addresses I can learn is only one. But as of now, he has not kept any MAC address inside the hood. So you have to generate a MAC address. Simply go in here and give it an address. It will learn the MAC address because GRP happens. See now, an address has been learned. Getting the point? Now, if this smarty comes in here, he takes the cable out and he just attaches to his PC. This port takes 50 seconds to come to forwarding state, that we'll see later on. But as of now, the moment this port comes up, he does nothing. Nothing. Why? Where did the port security go? See, the port security is still implemented, but this guy has not yet transmitted any data. The moment I hit desktop IP address, I will give him an address, any address. The moment I hit tab, what happens? Gratuitous RP sent out. The first frame will have a different MAC address. See what happens over there. If I hit a tab, immediately the link goes down. It was green earlier. Now it became red. Why? Because the switch will tell me, oh, kindly pay attention. I have taken this interface down. See in here, it says it is secure down. Why? Because the violation happened. See, violation happened in here. One violation count is there, and this is the last MAC address detected. And MAC addresses are globally unique. You can copy paste and put it on the internet, and there is a way to find out who created this MAC. Because half of the MAC address is IEEE assigned to the vendor, and half is the vendor assigns. So you can do your research and find out who has this MAC address, and you, if you're lucky, you may be able to find out the culprit. But this is how the violation occurs and the port goes down. If you want to turn on the interface, for example, he plugs in the cable back and he goes away, this port will not automatically start forwarding the data. No. Why? Because the violation has occurred. You manually have to go on the port and you have to shut down the port first. See, interface F0/1, you have to say shut it down and then say no, shut it down, and then the port will come up after 50 seconds. Then the port will come up. But if again someone comes in and does the only, what will happen is he will not be able to send data. His data will be rejected again. Ping, always ping the same address, address in the same network. The moment he tries to do it again, the port is off. This is how you will protect your switches, and by default it should be done. It is a very nice practice. So always apply port security on your ports. How do you do that? Switchport port security, you can say MAC address sticky. Again, switchport port security, maximum how many MAC addresses you want to see. Switchport port security violation shutdown. And for you to check, you will say show port hyphen security or show port security interface F0/1. Switch has a very nice feature. You can say switch has many ports rather than if you compare it with your router. So if you say I want to configure all these parameters on whole of the switch, you have one very nice command, that is interface range. Interface range allows you to select interface range F0/1-24. If I say like this, some operating systems will require a space, and some operating systems like iOS and XOS, some will allow you to do this. But the range command, interface range, allows you to set up, the commands that I fire in here will automatically push to all the interfaces over here. Let us do that. Let's go over here. Let's see, do show port hyphen security. As of now, only one interface has. So if I want to do the same task, I will say interface range F0/1-24. Push all these commands on all my 24 ports. Okay, sorry, I forgot to say switch port mode access. Simply I'll do that again. Now, what did the range command do? The range command show port hyphen security. See, all the interfaces are applied. So within minutes, you can apply port security to all. The only difference is you have to say range instead of that one single port. And this is the command. These both commands are there to check up the port security.